My dad actually told me about them.
Okay.
Um, and because they target high-ranking military officers
Oh, I
uh,
didn't know that.
to try and convert people
Oh.
and get them into the system.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at one point my dad may have been targeted. I don't remember. I don't quote me. I mean, don't quote me on that because I don't know if it's
Right.
remember it's true. But I do remember learning from him about it, and that
Right.
piqued my interest. And I was like, oh, these guys are they're bad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so nobody ever talks about it.
Mm-mm.
Um, like it's a huge danger, and nobody ever wants to talk about it.
And it's
Um,
actually infiltrated our government at this point. It really has.
they're at all seven mountains at this. They're at six of the
Oh,
seven
yes,
mountains.
definitely.
Um, and I don't know how close they are to the military part of it um, in the government. But
Hmm.
they're trying to beat it down on the arts and entertainment for sure right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, they have their own subgroup already.
Yeah.
Things like there's a whole series of movies that are done that a lot of them come out of Texas, especially.
Yep.
Um, there's Fireproof, which was a movie about how to save your marriage, and my son would actually know a few of them because he was subjected to them. I actually kind of come out of that.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
actually one of the things I was hoping to be able to talk with you about and why I really wanted to get on this live with you tonight
yeah.
is, hey, Gemma,
Um,
I'm glad you made it. Hey,
Hi,
Morgan.
everyone.
Hey, everyone. I'm only just seeing the chat a little bit, so
Yeah, I
um,
was waiting for it to open up here, and then I was going to be able to. I was told if I show up on my thing, I can actually join it
yep, you
and
can.
watch it.
I've got it. Yeah, I've got it live on my computer next to me so that I can see the chat for once. So
Okay,
I'm going to
and I
try and follow along with
Yep,
the
you
chat as
can.
best I
Oh,
can.
hang on. There we go. Got it
There
muted
we
on the
go.
other one.
No, that makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, I actually, well, I was raised in fundamentalist Christianity, in the Baptist church. I actually have 3 Baptist pastors in my family on my
Oh,
mom's side.
wow.
Yeah, and, starting around
Southern Baptist, like what part of the
no, but I ended
convention?
up Southern Baptist here,
Oh, okay.
because once I got to Missouri, it was hard to find the Baptist I was used to.
Oh, yep,
Um,
that would make sense.
but before that, though, even when I was back in Colorado, of all places, the pastor at the church I went to was a former, theological seminary guy. He was still on the board of visitors of a seminary, and he was teaching that you had to follow the entire Old Testament law because God made you, therefore God knows the best way to control his people and the best way to rule them. So he actually even taught following the dietary law. He was
Like
that deep
super
into it.
strict, even further than standard like kosher law. Like
We're
this
talking
very
no
strict.
seafood, no pork, no he did Saturday Sabbath.
Did he do
Um
the like split kitchen like Orthodox Jewish families do?
I don't know cuz I never watched him cook.
Oh,
But he was
okay.
definitely following all of the dietary restrictions for sure.
Yeah.
Um you no shellfish if it didn't have scales. In fact, I struggled after I left that with eating catfish cuz catfish have no scales. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, I don't know if I should eat catfish. They might be bad." Because indoctrination. But when I was growing up young, church and state apart was okay. In fact, the Baptist church in the 70s when Roe v. Wade hit, they considered that a Catholic problem because Catholics were anti birth control. And they actually figured early abortion was just like a birth control thing. But what happened, and Rushdoony, if you read some of his stuff, it's not surprising that, say, Falwell and so forth loved his stuff because he was actually pro. If you, he said people should not have to hire races and immigrants that they didn't want to because of segregation. He believes segregation was a biblical principle.
Sounds very JD Vance of him. If you've
So
heard any
JD Vance is
recent,
from the Catholic side of it, which apparently is a
well,
separate.
it's interesting. JD Vance wasn't Catholic up until very
Mhm.
recently,
Right,
and that very recently just happened to coincide with not too long after getting selected to become the vice president,
right.
on the ticket. Like, he called Trump America's Hitler at one point,
I
and
know, it
now
was
he's on the ticket
amazing.
with him. So I guess he wasn't upset about Trump being America's Hitler. I guess
It's
it was a
about power.
premonition. Yeah, he was just like, oh, America's Hitler. I'm going to latch onto that,
Right,
which
pretty
sounds
much.
very in line with this type of cult thing and like cult mentality.
Right.
And I want to use the word cult on this because I don't see them. I see
As
this as cultish and not as religion, because
correct.
religion has value and adds value. And
Mhm.
I'm agnostic. And I'm
Right.
about as agnostic as you can get. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not atheist because I don't care. It's less about, is there a God or not? I just don't care. Like, if there is one, cool. I'm going to be a good person anyways,
Right.
and judge me for that. If you're going to judge me as a God who's omnipotent and knows I'm not going to believe in you, yet still do good anyways, I think that's a better choice than I'm going to get good because I'm afraid a Sky Daddy is going to beat me and send
Mhm.
me down to Fire Daddy.
Right.
Um, and at this point, I'd rather go down, if anything, because that's where all the fun people are.
Right.
That's where Ozzy's at now. Like, rest in peace, Ozzy. But like, he's
I
going to
don't
be
know if
shoving that
you
pineapple up Hitler's ass just with little Nicky all over again.
I don't know. I think if you look at doing good and you look at Ozzy's last concert, I'd suspect he wouldn't be in hell anyhow, to be honest, because that was all for charity. I think that it's
Oh, he was such a
interesting.
good person in the end.
He really was. And instead, we get to, because of his, well, I mean, part of that was a stage crafted persona.
Yep.
It really was. And people loved to hate on it. And coming from that group, I can remember being told, of course, that he was obviously going to go to hell because he worshipped Satan and everything. And yeah, in fact, I was very early Christian music as far as trying to mimic the popular music stuff. That really started in like the early 80s.
Yeah.
And
With bands like POD in the 90s coming out.
well, Michael
And
W. Smith was in the late 70s, and so was Amy Grant. I mean, it goes way back. In fact, I can remember when I was really, really little that they actually have a television thing called the Gaither. They had a thing called the Gaither Trio or something, even on television for a while. I can remember the Gaithers coming to my church and selling a Christmas album when I was like 6. So Christian music, they've been trying to take that over actually and have their own Christian genre for a very, very
hmm
long time. I mean, this is not something new. And what people have to realize is that the people that are using it, they aren't actually true believers. Not
no,
not at all. They see a way to run. I mean, the ultimate
it's a
goal,
business for power.
it is, and the ultimate goal in the theonomy is to actually decentralize government entirely
Yep.
and have churches in charge of governance. Use the Old Testament law to run the country. And one of Rushdoony's principles is that you won't need divorce because everything that would cause a divorce should be a stoning offense. Of course, you can
Of
punish your wife for not listening, so beating your wife isn't a divorceable offense.
Yep.
But apparently, he did say, well, he can't actually argue that either because rape isn't possible in marriage and their consistency either. But he said that anything that would betray the marriage is a stoning offense, so there's no need for divorce because you just get to kill your spouse and be done with it, pretty much.
Well, I guess that solves the divorce problem. A lot of men would be dead. I hate to
You know?
say it, but a lot of men would be dead because the women in their lives would just be like, well, I can do it now. And
In
just, they're
I know,
gone.
in the Southern Baptist Church, I was recommended to take over the youth group, and my husband had left me for an 18-year-old. And the actual leaving youth pastor had said, she should fill it in. And I went to the pastor and asked how it went. And he said, well, the deacon said that you aren't suitable because you're guilty of adultery by proxy. And I'm like,
How, wait, so you got blamed for your husband's infidelity, most
correct.
likely with a possibly grooming a minor. I'm not going to say that he did, but it
She was
sounds
a
like it.
graduate from high school, but she was definitely vulnerable.
You're you're a minor still, I think. Like
Yeah,
18 is gross.
especially when you're
Um,
35.
yeah, I'm 35. Like I wouldn't look at an 18-year-old and go, yeah, she's hot.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, I'd want to go do that. No. One, that's a fucking child. And
Yeah.
two,
Well, what
you
was
have to be grooming them to do that in the end. Like you got to groom those kids.
yeah. Well, what was really funny is I looked at them and I said to them, I said, because they were teaching this whole Old Testament thing and everything. I
Yeah.
said, you know what? I said, why don't you guys, since you actually baptized this man and you guys have done nothing to address this, all you have to do is take both of them to the edge of town and stone them. And then I can be a virtuous widow and you can't condemn me anymore.
Hey, yeah, exactly. Like I
I
thought
didn't
stoning
mean
was
it, of
okay,
course,
right?
but I mean, geez
Well,
Louise.
I mean, stoning's okay, right?
Right, exactly. If stoning's part of the thing, then they should go ahead and take care of my problem for me because
Yeah.
I
That's
wasn't
what
doing
community
anything
does. They
wrong.
protect each other, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, get rid of the predator.
Yeah, but
Um,
no, they wouldn't do that. They didn't let me teach the youth because I was dangerous.
because you were associated with a dangerous man who you had no control over, yet somehow
Correct.
you have to control him. Yet he is your master and you are his slave in most ways, but you're responsible for controlling him. Interesting. That's
Yes.
a that's an interesting power dynamic.
Isn't it?
Um,
And of course, the whole thing, they're very much the whole trad wife thing, of course, is a big part of this. Women are
yeah,
supposed to be, in fact, I was told that women should never have been allowed to vote.
they're in
But
the works of trying to get rid of it.
right, they are doing their best because see, they actually, I did not know this, but original sin isn't that Adam and Eve sinned together. The actual theory of original sin is that Eve sinned and
Mhm.
Adam had to sin to stay with her to protect her because she was a woman. And if
So it's
Eve,
the woman's fault.
it's the woman's fault.
Of course it is.
And since women cannot be trusted to be rational enough to avoid temptation, they shouldn't be allowed to vote. Now,
So hold on before you go any further. Riddle
uh-huh.
me this. Who has started nearly every war in history? Is
Well,
it women
obviously.
or men?
Always our fault though.
Oh, yeah, it's always. Somehow it's always a woman's fault. Fuck. Okay, so I really want to ask because this all goes real. Actually, I want to let you finish, and then I want to ask into the Seven Mountains stuff,
Okay.
and get
Um,
some primer and introduce to them to
okay.
everybody.
What's really interesting about it is they have a male headship model, of course, for women. And if you're not married, it's your father. If your father dies and you have a brother and he's over the age of 12, it's your brother. Or if not, it's your uncle, your grandfather. Here's what's really neat. If you become a widow and you have a son over the age of 12, your son gets to be your head. And for the purpose of voting, you are supposed to go ask your 12-year-old son how to vote and follow his instructions because as a woman, you cannot make a decision for yourself.
Yeah, it's like the chat is saying, like, I'm sorry for breathing. Hold your breath,
Exactly.
ladies. Like these fuckheads suck. Um,
It is just
okay,
so wrong.
it's so crazy. Um, but it's so interesting too because it crosses this mentality of patriarchy
Oh, yeah.
especially this level of patriarchy. And I've seen the pictures of the umbrella that they
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about, like the umbrella of marriage. It's a very Mormon thing too.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just, it's so over the top, but it's everywhere, which
Hmm.
means somebody is probably coordinating it because people don't just come up with ideas on their own like this
Hmm.
and then do it in mass on various different scales.
Well,
So,
Rushdoony started publishing in the late 60s and early 70s. There's been a long time for this to grow.
yep,
And what happened is when Falwell was anti desegregation. He wanted to keep Liberty University white. And he approached the GOP and said, if you guys will take on Roe v. Wade and take anti abortion on as your plank, I can turn all of my people into voters for the GOP because I will tell them to vote against killing babies. And that will be how we get all of my people to vote for you. And then they
yeah,
took Rushdoony's teachings, especially that's why homeschool's so big. Rushdoony was very much against pulling or against secular education.
yes. And so that's really interesting too, because my wife and I homeschooled for a little while, our kids.
Mhm.
And one of the things we had to figure out, sorry, I'm adding something to the chat.
Okay.
I saw somebody say something about
It's Al
they're the
Qaeda.
American Taliban or the Christian Taliban.
Yeah.
They're the Al Qaeda,
Hmm.
um,
Pretty much.
or because it's the same thing. It's Sharia law wrapped in Christianity
Correct. It's
with a
fundamentalist
flag.
religion. Yeah.
We were told a long time ago the enemy that will be most dangerous to America is going to come wrapped in a flag, thumping a
Carrying
Bible
a cross.
and carrying a cross. And guess what?
They
Donald
are.
Trump did that.
Hmm.
And JD Vance does. Neither of them are believers. They turned into false believers and
Right.
false prophets to fit a role. And that's
Right.
what happens when you try and fulfill prophecy on purpose rather
Hmm.
than letting prophesied or prophesied things happen on their own. So
Correct.
we're back into the 70s with
Hmm.
Rushdoony. And then
Right.
after him, or because of him in the early 70s, you have our evangelical Christian movement,
Hmm.
Christian based movement, um,
Right.
called the Seven Mountain Mandate or Seven
Hmm.
Mountain Dominionism. You'll also hear the word
Right.
dominionism a lot.
Hmm.
If you're not
And
familiar with
Christian
dominion
Reconstructionism,
and new
Apostolic Reformation.
apostolic reformation. Thank you. I don't know how to say that word, and every time I do, I say it differently. But
It's
the
Apostolic Reformation.
okay, I'll do it the short way. The NAR.
Hmm.
Um, if you want to know what an NAR flag looks like, look outside Mike Johnson's office at the Capitol. He flies a Dominionist flag outside of his office. He is a Dominionist.
Right.
Mike
Is
Johnson
it the Christian flag?
is.
Do you know? I've never
I
looked for it.
forget which. I think it's the mountains. I think it's the one with the mountains on it. It's the actual mountain, like Dominionist flag.
Oh, okay. Because there's a Christian flag which has like a shield and a cross and stuff on it.
No, this one has. I think this one has the the mountains on it. There's some pictures of it outside of his office. The thing with the Seven Mountain Mandate is it's not only just a religious cult.
Right.
It is a set of values, like you were saying, Lisa, that are based on very strict and very narrow interpretations of Old Testament Bible, specifically Genesis and Revelation,
Hmm.
because they are an apocalypse cult. They're
Right.
not just any cult, they're an apocalypse cult. They want to
Correct.
bring about the apocalypse, they don't want to prevent it. They want to fulfill prophecy to bring about the end times
And
so
that's
that they
why they're
can be raptured.
Zionists. Hmm.
Yes, and that's why they consider themselves Christian Zionists. That's why they support Israel so vehemently. It's not because they like Israel, it's because they want to collect all of us Jewish people into Israel so that we can rebuild the temple
Right.
and begin the prophecy to
Right.
usher in Armageddon. And
Hmm.
to do that, There's a reason it's called Seven Mountain Mandates. It's because they have seven pillars that
Right.
I had to write down. Lisa and I both wrote these down so we didn't forget them
Right.
because they have seven pillars that they're trying to take charge of, not
Correct.
just be a part of, but rule over
Over.
in its entirety.
Hmm.
Theocracy. It's a theocratic movement for religious downfall. It's religion, which
Hmm.
ding, ding, ding. That's what they want. They want a religious society. That's why it's number one. But
Right.
they want to control all religions. They don't want to
Hmm.
just control theirs. They want to control what you can and cannot believe.
Not only that, but in their version, it's called actually, they also call it a theonomy. And the only people who can participate in civil society are Christians. Everyone else is a step below that.
And
Christian
on
women
top of
are
that,
below
men.
Christian men, and then
Yep.
everyone else is below that.
Yeah, it goes back to some of the ideas that were the idea of landowners and slave
Hmm.
owner basically is you are the male, you are the dominant. I mean, it's patriarchy
It
in
is.
its most purest evil form is the Seven Mountain Mandate. Is
Right.
patriarchy as evil as you can get to usher in the end of the world. Like
But their
that's what
religious
they
thing
want.
is literally, you if you are not a Christian, you do not count.
Yep. And you can see that in things, say, that JD Vance has recently said, is if you do not fit the value and the culture of America, and you're only, and that value only is represented by white people, is what he really wants to say, but hasn't
Hmm.
said. Well, I mean, he has, but in maybe fewer words.
Right.
Is they're at the point now where they have at least taken over enough of the Christian ecosystem and mainstream themselves enough that they have checked off the box of religion as part of
Hmm.
their seven mountains.
Right.
They've achieved one. We're going to go through all seven and we're going to figure out if they haven't achieved it yet.
Okay.
Um, Hopefully, they haven't achieved some of them.
They're
Family.
not the whole way there, at least in a
They're
few
not
words.
the whole way there. So they're not the whole way there with religion. They think they are because they control their sect and they're very loud.
Correct.
But a lot of people are pushing back. Look at James Tallarico out of
Hmm.
Texas. He's a Christian. He's an evangelical Christian.
Hmm.
He evangelizes, but he does it in a way that is positive, that shows what Christianity
Should
can
be.
be, should
Mhm.
be, is about. It's about the love. It's about living the values of loving thy neighbor,
Right.
protecting thy neighbor,
Correct.
bringing in the hungry, feeding the poor, loving the poor. Those are Christian values.
Right.
What these guys do,
It's
not
not
so
Christian.
much.
It's a
Yeah,
heresy.
it's heresy, and that leads into the family. They want to take over family, which is the model
Mhm.
of a hegemonic male patriarchy.
Mhm.
You are in that line or you're not.
And it's Project 2025 everywhere.
Yep,
Project
they've
2025 is definitely
they
family or
commission Project 2025.
yeah.
Like they are a main factor in it because they have infiltrated what they need to in the background to start doing it.
Mhm.
The next is education.
Right.
That's so we've got religion, family, and education.
Right.
This is where we're at now in
Mhm.
terms of part of it is they are trying to take over the education system. You can
Especially in
see
Oklahoma, Texas,
Arkansas,
Arkansas, Missouri is not as
Louisiana,
bad, but Louisiana, yeah, Florida.
Mississippi, all of the southern and redder states,
Mhm.
Idaho,
Yeah,
um,
definitely Idaho.
Montana, North and South Dakota. If you're in a state that is basically a supermajority of Republicans,
You're
education
in
is their
danger.
next step. You're already in Project 2025, where laboratories
Mhm.
of autocracy, they just want to
Right.
make it worse,
Right.
which means closing down public schools
Mhm.
or getting rid of Title IX protections so that
Right.
girls cannot participate in any activities and that their learning is restricted to girl activities or what
Mhm.
women should do, which is some bullshit. Um, and that's what they want to do. That's what the voucher programs are. It's religious
Mhm.
based education pushed through by government tax, by your
Right.
tax dollars against your will.
Mhm. Yeah, it's they're trying to defund schools through the voucher program.
Yes. Yes. And you can see it. Look at Arkansas, look at
Mhm.
Oklahoma, and look at Missouri. Look at Kentucky and some of the other states that have done it, where they have blown a hole in their budget so large they cannot pay for it. Like,
Right.
and we're losing all the federal funds, so you can't pay for it anyway. So what you going to do? They're going to close down schools. They're going to let churches take back over,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how you're going to get your education.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're rich
Well,
and you
yeah.
belong to like the Walton family or something, or you're a
Yeah, then you
Bezos.
can have private tutors or you can go to private schools and boarding schools, and it doesn't matter what kind of
Nope.
education everyone else gets. In fact, China actually is getting ahead of us because their education is so much better because they invest in it, and we've pulled so much money out of ours.
Yeah, we're purposely pulling ourselves backwards right now.
Yes, we
Like
are.
we're killing ourselves as a country to appease a seven mountain mandate in
Yes,
order to bring about the apocalypse. Like that's
and
literally what they want. And
Rushdoony
it's
actually was against education. He pretty much said if God didn't give you the knowledge, you shouldn't have it.
yep,
Was practically what he said in some of his writings.
yeah. Especially if you weren't a male, you shouldn't have it. And if you're a female, don't get out of line because that's the witches. Remember, they didn't burn witches in Salem. They burned women and one man who
Well,
were
they
out of
crushed a man.
line. They crushed a man, but they burned a bunch of women who were
Mhm.
not witches. They were just women who said no or bucked up against the trend, and they killed
Right.
them.
Right.
That's this whole idea of stoning for doing things out of line.
Mhm.
Well, they weren't witches. And when they drowned that poor woman, and because witches are supposed to
Float.
whatever float,
Yeah.
and she didn't float, and they figured out they were fucking wrong. They stopped.
Well, the
And but it took a lot of other effort to get them to stop.
oh, yeah. It was also on Salem, part of it was a land grab,
Yeah.
because if you were convicted of being a witch, everything you had became property of the state. And
Or
like the
your
man
or your husband or your brother
well, like
who
the man who got crushed, he knew that if he would have admitted to being a witch as they crushed him, that his sons would have lost everything. That's
yep.
why his famous last words were "more weight," because
Hmm.
he was going to not let his sons lose everything just because they tortured him to death.
And
So,
that's courage in the face of
mhm,
literally dying.
mhm.
We're not there yet.
No.
We're not there yet. But people need to start preparing. Like
Yeah.
prepare yourself
So you have
for
family and religion and education.
yeah, prepare yourself for some shit. So
Mhm.
we've got family, religion, education. Next is government. Ooh, government. This one they're close to. They're
Yeah.
not there yet. They're close to. They're close to it because MAGA Mike Johnson or Moses Mike Johnson wants to have his Moses moment and part the Red Seas and
Mhm.
allow us to bring the Jews back to Israel and return us to the time of beauty and whatever bullshit he wants, and where he can put his underage son as his porn addict viewer, like blocker on his weird porn site, like
Yeah.
phone app, which we should probably talk about those too, because those are highly, highly, highly dangerous apps. Um, those type of tracking apps, because they track literally everything, literally every behavior. And we have a government official, the the Speaker of the House, who says he has that type of app on his phone that
Mhm.
tracks and scrapes every piece of data off his phone.
Mhm.
And we're
He
supposed to
has
believe
no
he's
clue.
keeping things secret?
Yeah. He has no clue about any of it as far as maintaining digital security. Of course, I
None
mean,
of
so
them do.
neither does Hegseth. I mean,
None of them do. Oh, and they just actually released today, I saw in the news, that they're admitting to there being classified information in the Signal chat, which, if you did my job previously, is literally a prison sentence immediately.
right,
Like you go to jail for leaking classified information.
right. It's considered
Or you
treason.
get extradited out of the country because you leaked classified information and now you're treasonous.
Mhm.
And look at Snowden, look at Chelsea Manning, look at all
Mhm.
of the people who have come out and released different pieces of information.
Look at the mess they made out of Clinton using a private email server for some things, and
Yeah,
versus
yet we don't
versus how
hear
they
anything
treated
about this
Hegseth.
shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Julie, Pete didn't do anything new this time. It's still all the signal stuff.
It's just because he's still an idiot.
It's because he's a drunk. He's a
And an
fucking
idiot.
drunk and an idiot. Yeah.
He
And he's an embarrassment to the army and the
Oh, he
military
is.
in general. And feel so embarrassed as a veteran to have a crusader literally
Mhm.
running the Department of Defense who doesn't
Right.
know what he's doing and who's an
And
alcoholic.
that's so dangerous that they don't care, that they're all cosplaying. None of them know what they're doing. And
Nope.
it's horrifying to anybody who knows a little bit about what they should be doing because, I mean, I haven't been in the military in, wow, 30 years, I guess. Um, but I remember the oath, I remember the whole, and I'm going, "These people aren't." I mean, you can't be a Christian nationalist and take the oath to the Constitution seriously. If you
No.
look at Rushdoony's writings, because your ultimate goal is to subvert the Constitution if you believe in Christian nationalism.
Yes.
They
Yes. And
can't go together.
you take that oath under false pretenses and a lie, which, oh, by the way, under UCMJ, and I'm
Right.
using shorthand, which is UCMJ
U
is the Uniform
Universal
Code of
Code of
Military
Military
Justice.
Justice.
It
Yep,
is a separate code of justice from the civilian legal
correct.
system. It has its own rules. It
Mhm,
has tribunals, and
yep,
you can go to jail for things way faster than you
yep.
can in the civilian world. You don't have the same rights in a tribunal
No,
or
you
in the
don't.
UCMJ, and you have to follow them after you get out of the service as an
Mhm,
officer. You and enlisted, you as a upper enlisted, it is it is basically a requirement to live by the UCMJ post service. As an
right,
officer, it is a requirement
sure,
because the thing the military can do is recall you
right.
and try you and dishonorably discharge or worse to you.
Mhm,
And Hegseth deserves it.
yes, he's broken more than enough rules to do it,
He deserves
and
to be demoted to the lowest rank he possibly can,
mhm,
to have any commission stripped away if
mhm,
he has one, which I don't think he does. Um, I don't actually remember what he was in the military, but he was not a leader, and he was not someone who should be leading our Department of Defense. Who does not live up to the morals and oath that you
mm-mm,
take um, as a soldier.
right,
Either the enlistment oath for being an enlisted or the officer's oath. They're slightly different, but they both say the same thing. I will
right.
support and defend the Constitution of the United States against
From
all
all
enemies,
enemies, foreign
foreign
and
and domestic.
domestic.
That comes before saying, I will obey the orders of the
Yes,
president.
right. It's the first
So
part.
the first part, I'll even read it. I, Nick Barrow, do solemnly swear or affirm that I support and
Mhm,
defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Says at the end, you got to do it up until it's illegal. And then
mhm.
you follow the law and you don't obey illegal orders. Anyway, that's the military. We could have a great conversation on this
We
one
probably
because
could.
I want and we
We're
should.
off
And
we're
I
off
think we
topic.
should. Yeah,
Yeah, we should
well
one
no,
day.
we're on topic because Pete Hegseth
It's
is
part
another
of
part
the
of it
He
because
is.
he is a crusader. He has listed himself as a crusader. He has the tattoos and that's who he thinks he is.
Yeah,
So government military isn't listed in their seven mountains, but it is part of the government.
it is.
And I will always consider it as part of the government because they will subvert and try and take it over. And
Mhm,
part of taking over the government is taking over the military.
Right.
because you can't take over the government without it.
Right. Because they'll end up standing up against you if you
Yep.
take over the government without them.
And then the final three,
Mm-hmm.
there's four words and five words in the three of them. There's
Mm-hmm.
media, arts
Cartoon.
and entertainment,
Right.
and business. And we're going to sort of group these. I want to group these a little with you
Okay.
because I think they go so well together.
Yeah.
And we can
Especially in
see
today's uh
Colbert.
well, yeah. And even look, the fact that we were switching to a digital, like you and I talking, is more likely to become what's normal versus television in a couple more years,
Yes.
possibly.
Yeah.
So, and somebody just wrote an article that another one of the tech bros just did a half a billion or $1 billion in financing for Substack,
Yep.
and they were
Yes.
recommending that we keep an eye out
Sam,
for that.
is it?
Because they're right instead of left too. So they're taking over this stuff even as we speak.
Yeah. And Anderson Horowitz, I think it
Yeah,
is the one.
Andreessen.
Andreessen. Um,
Yep, it was
he,
him.
as far as I remember, Andreessen is one of the PayPal mafia, basically. Um,
He started
and
Netscape. That's where he came out of. Was what I was reading.
yeah, and his type of philosophy goes into that ultra nihilism or
Hmm.
nihilism. And he's in the lines of the Peter Thiels of the world,
Right.
of the Curtis Yarvin, um,
Well,
and those type of figures.
and the to me the Christian Reconstructionism goes well with their version because Christian Reconstructionism just takes the government away from the top part and puts us all local. And for their little fiefdoms to work, that can fit right in. And then they have the
Hmm.
churches kind of running as their uh, knights, so to speak, in this as their sub fief commanders, and they have the churches run everything underneath them, and they extract wealth and so forth from the community that they're over top of.
Maureen, I like your comment. Can we persuade the Scientologists to throw these fuckers in the volcano? I would be happy to. I would also love to have a talk on Scientology because that's a
That
fucked up.
oh yeah, that is a
That's
lot
a
of fun.
group.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, but back to what we were doing. So for media, like
Hmm.
we're in a world like you're talking about. We have to be careful of who's investing in which media companies. You have to be
Right.
careful of where you're consuming your media from.
Hmm.
And you have to be sure that what you're getting isn't laced with the bigotry built in. And you
Right.
can see that with movies and our media ecosystem. Not right now, bud. I'm I'm in the middle of something. I think she's cooking. Anyway, um, my son wanted to go to the park.
Aw.
Um,
Well, we're not gonna be too much longer. We got
n- no, that's all right. And he'll be all right. He's got a friend he's playing with anyway. Um, but they're taking over the media. They're
hmm
trying to not only take over it publicly, visibly, but it's what's behind
hmm
the media. It's who's buying the organizations. And you can
right.
see it with every single one of our major broadcasting networks are
Hmm.
owned by like three people.
Right.
All of them are dominionists,
Hmm.
and they've all admitted to it too.
Right.
And you look at folks like Leonard Leo, who
Mm.
runs in the background, who
Right.
owns three Supreme Court members at minimum,
Right.
and an entire judicial society.
I was gonna say he
He,
also owns a lot of the lower court people
yeah,
too.
because he owns the Federalist Society,
Correct.
um, is he has dark money groups all throughout the country that are
Mhm.
under various LLCs and different subcontracting names and whatever have you, because they're really good at obfuscating what they do,
Right.
because they've
Shell
been doing it for a
corporations and
long
everything.
time. Yeah, it's all shells, it's all things that are hard to follow. But
Right.
if you follow along and you follow the breadcrumbs, and people like Zev Shalev, who have followed the breadcrumbs
Mhm.
of the Epstein case and how it's linking across international waters
Oh, yeah.
and really revealing a criminal network that is conspiring across multiple countries,
Mhm.
he followed the breadcrumbs because they leave breadcrumbs. Like Peter
Right.
Thiel leaves breadcrumbs.
Right.
One, he's also very open about his nihilism and his hate for humanity and his want to turn
Mhm.
into cyborgs and robots and control everybody in our little fiefdoms.
Mhm.
Part of that is taking over the media, destroying the media networks, and then
Right.
consolidating to owned networks like Truth Social or
Mhm.
Twitter, purchased by a Nazi, because I'm gonna dead name that one, because I refuse to call it X. Um, or you're gonna see Andreessen say try and take over Substack, which
Mhm.
can be pushed back against. We can
Right.
stop that as well. Like our voices on this network, if they try and shut it down, then we have to revolt as loudly as possible because this is the part of the new media ecosphere. Like,
Mhm.
this is where we're all connecting. Like you said, this is how we're going to get news and communicate with each other.
Right.
And we're going to do it with groups of people who can listen in and chat and give ideas back and forth while we talk and while we
Correct.
go through everything. And that breaks the mountain mandate of media. Because if we control the media, the thing that Substack does really well is it allows us to have global, national, and local news all in
Mhm.
one place. But you can get local news by people that you might actually know, like,
Right.
and that you trust and that you've made connections with. And it's not filtered through, like Midas Touch always says, it's not filtered through a corporate media narrative or money or big money. Nobody tells me what to say.
Right.
Nobody sure as fuck tells Nick what to say. Like I say what I want to say, and I'm gonna keep saying it because we need to break that. The media, arts, and entertainment are two of the biggest mandates that we need to not let them take over.
Right.
Because one, they're gonna ruin the media. They already have. Two, their art and entertainment sucks. It's
Yeah.
fucking boring. Who
Yeah.
wants to watch crude, like, chastity belt, like, fucking old people rocking out to, like, Gangster's Paradise, but singing something about God and, like, what the fuck? It sucks. Or, like, I can't remember. We were talking about homeschooling.
Mhm.
Um, it's owned by the I think the Falwells is one of the homeschooling um
Mhm.
online stuff that they get all the news they added it in, I think, into the Texas curriculum or the um
Well, I know they're using
I think
PragerU
yes,
to.
that one Prager.
Yeah. Yeah,
That is
they're
Christian
using.
media
Uh-huh.
and art and entertainment guised as
Mhm.
children's stuff. Like, it's
Well,
ugly.
they
It sucks.
actually they have a PragerU where you can actually go to school there as quote unquote a college. That's why it's PragerU University. And they actually, I don't know if you know this, but Oklahoma has their Department of Education superintendent of education has announced that he's
It's
going
a
to have Prager.
shitbag.
Yeah, he's going to have PragerU do a questionnaire for all teachers coming from out of state to make sure they're not too woke.
Oh, yeah, because Oklahoma rating what, 50th in education
Mhm.
really needs to keep destroying their education system. Like, there are
Yes,
neighbors. I know people in Oklahoma, and they won't let their kids go to school in Oklahoma because the education system fucking sucks.
and it
They
just
don't
keeps
have
getting
one.
worse.
And it's
Well,
getting worse.
the guy that's in charge, the superintendent of education, made the Trump Bible required in all the classrooms at
Oh,
one
yep.
point.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was the one who allocated, I think it was like millions of dollars from the
Mhm.
Oklahoma Department of Education to buy Trump Bibles. It was very
Mhm.
specific what he said too. It was like they had to have the Constitution and this and this.
And the only
And
way to
guess
do it is
who's
to
the
buy a Trump
only
Bible.
Bible that has a government document in it? The
Yep.
fucking Trump Bible.
And it
Because
even has a Lee
having,
Greenwood song at the end of it.
oh, and even better, it's missing constitutional amendments too.
The ones they don't like.
Yeah, I actually think they took the 19th out. I think they took some of the good ones out.
That makes
Um,
sense. I'm surprised they
because
didn't take out the 25th, you know?
uh well, I'm surprised we haven't gotten to the 25th yet, but I think
Yeah.
that's coming.
Aaron said they
And the
just
thing
left a
is,
second.
once they enact the 25th, and this is something that most people probably might not know. I'll give you a little education. I learned a lot about U.S. history. My dad is a U.S. history buff and made sure that I knew as much as I could. Once you go into the 25th Amendment, which is for removing the president at that
Right.
point because of mental incapacity. He is unable to perform the duties of president, or she
Right.
or they, because they are mentally incapacitated. The second that the 25th Amendment is actually invoked, Trump is required by the Constitution to step down until
Wow.
the proceedings are over, and Vance would assume the role of president interim at the time. He has to stop being president, basically, which is why they won't do it until it's time for Vance to take over, because the coup of the coup is coming. We all see it every day. We see them doing all this shit behind the scenes, um, which is where all the arts and entertainment and business, the final one, really comes in.
Right.
Business is where people have missed the takeover. You can see it because right wing trolls that we used to think were just techies came out as right wing assholes, really, really violent and aggressively. And they came out very openly. I worked in the tech field. I worked in the tech field. Like 5 years ago, calling yourself MAGA in any way or revealing like that, you would get basically shunned out of the group. Now, most most people who are in the higher echelons of the tech sector would consider themselves MAGA adjacent,
Mhm.
um, and they're proud of it. So that's the takeover of businesses. They are taking over. Leonard Leo buying the Supreme Court and destroying regulations. Part of
Right.
this is taking away regulation, like we
Right.
talked about at the beginning, is tearing down. The whole point is to tear government down. They
Correct.
don't want democracy. It's
No.
obsolete, it's antiquated, it doesn't work for them. It's too complicated because people have a voice.
Right. And they don't want people to have a voice. They want
No.
people to be obedient drones to do exactly what is expected of them and nothing else. One of the things I don't know if you realize is they want getting rid of the social safety net is definitely a feature, not a bug.
Yes. Nope.
And
It's purposeful.
Rushdoony said that the only uh, stuff that was needed to take care of people, the only charity would be the family. If a family was being godly, they didn't need help, pretty much.
Hmm.
And if they were godly, they'd take care of their own members who might need help, but they wouldn't need help from the outside because a godly family is, I guess, so virtuous that they always have money and always have health and always have food, or otherwise they're sinful and they deserve what's coming to them.
Yes. It's a very Job mentality.
It is. And when I was in the church, especially in the Southern Baptist Church, they were actually arguing for, and this was something that was being supported by, what's his name, in the libertarian guy in the Senate. He was actually trying to get it done. He wanted to turn the entire social safety net into block grants done by community partners. And the churches were, of course, expecting to be the community partners. And so instead of having AFDC, instead of having SNAP, instead of having any of it, the church would get this money, and then they would, in the community, if somebody needed something, they would be approached and they would have to get the church to agree to it.
Hmm.
And so what would happen, and they were actually saying, if this happens, we get all these new church members because they will have to be church members or they know we might not let them have any money. But if they're members, they know we'll trust them. So we'll get, yes, Ron Paul. So they get all of these people in that way. And they said, and if we know somebody's a drunk, they don't get any money because they're going to spend it on liquor. And if we know somebody's living in sin, they don't get any money because God's working on them. And
Yep.
if a woman has children outside of marriage, she should give them up for adoption because she's a sinful whore, et cetera, et cetera. And there was this whole, you either behave as a quote unquote Christian or you get nothing.
Yeah.
And they were looking forward to that kind of control and coercion over the rest of their communities, which is horrifying to me. I can remember sitting there thinking of, okay, so since the social security is part of that safety net, and most of the people that are paying tithes right now are your old people, how do you think your block grant's going to cover anybody after you get done paying all their social security to them? It's like, what are you guys even thinking? But they were so thrilled. They were like,
Yep.
we'll get all this money and we'll control everybody. And I'm like, oh, you guys are idiots.
Yeah. And it's all about, in the end, tearing down.
Hmm.
Um, and it's
Tearing
really,
down.
and I'm going to read a quote from, it's actually Genesis 1:28,
Okay.
um, because it's in the document one of the documents that I read about them, specifically about the Seven Mountain Mandate and where they get some of their philosophy from.
Hmm.
So this one's really important. I don't read the Bible very often, but I got through partway through Genesis and I was like, this doesn't make sense. And I was
It's
like, this is
myth.
kind of silly.
It's myth.
When they were like 400, he's 400 years old. I was like, nah, he's not. Um, Anyway, so Genesis 1:28 says is when God tells Adam to fill the earth and subdue it,
Right.
rule over the fish in the sea and the
The
birds in the
dominion mandate.
sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground.
Yep.
Dominion, dominionism, rule
Right.
over everything,
Rule over everything.
and bring about the end time.
Hmm.
And that's really the
They
big
skip the
thing.
whole middle.
Yeah, they skip the whole like live happily, like make earth heaven, like make heaven on earth. Like,
Yeah.
isn't that what we're supposed to do?
They skip all the red words from Jesus too.
Yeah, they skip all the like the thing is it's the thing that pisses me off the most about these people is they skip all the parts they don't like and
Hmm.
they just cherry pick the ones that are brutal and mean
Right.
and like you can't do that. It comes with
No.
both. It comes with the good and the bad. Like
Right.
if you're gonna believe in something, you believe in it, right?
Right.
That's your articles of faith is you believe and you believe, but
Hmm.
you have to believe the whole thing. And
Right.
believing the whole thing means the vengeful God that is the Jewish Torah, or most of the Torah, and the Jewish version of God, who is more wrathful than the
Right.
Christian version, because the Christians got Jesus.
Right.
Y'all got Jesus, who was like, yay, peace on earth. I'm going to make y'all better. I'm not, I am the sword. He did
Hmm.
say that, but he
Right.
wasn't what the Jews needed for a Messiah,
Right.
which obviously
Not what they
created
were
the schism.
expecting.
Yeah, he wasn't what they were expecting, and which created this schism,
Hmm.
which now has led us to the world's most obnoxious group of people shutting down the US government to cover for pedophiles, is
Hmm.
what this has led to. Literally,
Yep.
that's what the Seven Mountain Mandate has finally led to.
Right.
Is Mike Johnson shut down the people's house, the House of Representatives, our house. where we vote our representatives. No taxation without representation. We fucking put billions of dollars of tea into a goddamn harbor in Boston to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we letting them shut us down for pedophiles?
Because the chief pedophile in office doesn't want to get knocked out any faster than he has to.
My guess is there's a couple chief pedophiles on the court too,
Oh, yeah, probably.
because you don't get bought off like that and go on all those vacations and just let pedophilia go
Right,
unless there's a reason for you to.
right,
Um,
right,
and so my thing with the Seven Mountain Mandates is it doesn't get talked about ever.
right.
Nobody talks about dominionism. Nobody talks about the let me see if I can say the word new
Apostolic.
apostolic reformation.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody ever talks about that. Nobody ever
Paula White's out of that group, by the way.
really.
Yeah. Trump's spiritual advisor is a big
That makes total
player in the
sense.
NAR.
That makes total sense because they they are on a crusade is their
Mm-hmm.
thing. Is so the fight that we're up against, unfortunately, is we're fighting crusaders and zealots,
Yes.
or the Al Qaeda,
Mm-hmm.
or the Yalaban, or
Very
whatever you
much.
want. So I'm going to bring this back to a little bit into let's just think about people probably don't people might remember it, but it doesn't make the news anymore. Is that caravan that happened a lot during the election that went down to the border with the trucks? Um, and they called themselves like the way they named themselves was they were like a caravan for God or something,
Mhm.
whatever their mission was. I can't remember exactly. But what it translates to in Islamic, in sorry, not fuck, in Farsi,
Mhm.
um, or in some of the Middle Eastern languages is God damn it. Yep, I'm gonna damn him on this one because I forgot the word. Um,
Well, while you're looking, Gemma, they want to have the whole apocalypse happen because a lot of them are what they call pre-tribulationists. They believe that when the apocalypse starts, Jesus is taking all of them up to heaven, and everyone that gets left behind gets to go through the tribulation while they all get to sit with Jesus and laugh at all of us pretty much. And that is why they want the end of the world so they get to go to heaven and be with Jesus. Is pretty much what it turns into.
okay, so here's what it was. So there was the caravan that went down to the Texas border during the
Mhm.
election. They called themselves, I think they called themselves the Party of God, which just so happens to translate in Arabic to Hezbollah.
Oh, wow.
Exact translation to Hezbollah is Party of God.
Right.
They named themselves after the terrorist groups.
Mhm.
They are the American terrorist groups.
They are.
Like that's what we need to start calling them. They're
And
terrorists. They're
we
domestic
hired
terrorists.
a, bag boy to take over the American Internal Terrorist Group.
Oh yeah, the guy
Yeah.
who works out of DC. I actually wrote about him.
Yeah.
He's 22 years old, never had any intelligence experience in
And
his life,
now
and
he's in
now he
charge of.
runs, yeah, the counterintelligence, the interior.
Mhm.
There's two different types of intelligence apparatuses. There's our external, there's
Right.
our internal. Our internal is called counterintelligence. Counterintelligence is to counter the enemy on the inside, is to counter the domestic threat.
And we
Well,
now have somebody who has no clue running it.
yep, now we have an idiot who's never gone to any formal sort of training, no
Mhm.
sort of intelligence practices, no sort of understanding on how to do the job.
Right.
And like, I'm going to
No
speak
management
forcefully on it
experience.
because I know how to do this job. Like, I could do his job better than he does because I was trained to do part of it.
Mhm. He has no
And it's
clue, and he's in charge
fucking
of
bullshit.
everything.
Yeah. And he's going to get people killed
Mhm.
and he's going to do it on purpose. So, the big thing that I know I've done a lot of talking tonight. Sorry,
Yeah,
Lisa.
that's okay.
Um, come out of this is don't let them destroy our systems of communication.
No. And don't let them destroy what's left of our government. We need to take it over again. And it's like I sit there and I say, "I am a patriot." They sit there and they talk about people who speak out against Trump as being terrorists and so forth, and I'm like, "No, I'm a patriot. I love this country. I know that it's wrong right now, and I know what it can be.
Yes,
And as someone who loves this country, I will work to get it there again."
yes,
That's where you are too, and I know there's so many of us like that. So,
yeah. And that's something to remember is re-embrace your patriotism,
right,
not because America is great right now, but because we could actually make it great
right,
by being the patriots to bring it there. Like,
yes,
I call myself a patriot because I am. I love
right.
this country. I
Mhm.
love this country. I love the Constitution and what it stands for and the American dream of what it
Could
could
be,
be and what it
correct.
represents. It's the dream that we all have the
Right,
rights to freedom, equality, and justice. And we
right.
all should be taken care of. They don't want that, but we do. That makes us both conservative and
Mhm.
progressive
Yep,
because to be conservative is to conserve something.
right,
You do not conserve something you are destroying. You're
right.
destroyers. I
It's
want to conserve the Constitution and make it better
right.
because that's what Thomas Jefferson said to do, was
Mhm.
make it better. That's
That's
why we
why it's
amendments.
amendments exist, and it's so interesting because what Leonard Leo does, and what so many of them have done, is they call what an originalist reading of the Constitution, and the originalists who created it never intended for it to stay that way.
Yeah,
Instead, they intended for it to grow and change as history happened because they knew it couldn't stay the way it was. But people like the conservative part of our court say, "What did they mean when they wrote this in late 1700s?" And it's like that's not how it was meant to be interpreted. But that is how put everything so they can take away our rights. They're like, "Well, they never expected you to have abortion, so you can't have that right." You know, it's pretty much where they end up going with it, and no, and I
yeah.
don't think it was Ben who said it was a republic if we can keep it. Who was that? Was it Adams?
No,
I
that
don't
was
think
Ben Franklin.
it was Ben Franklin? Okay.
Yeah. No, and I think it's a republic or it's a democracy if you can keep it, or a republic if you can
I think it's
keep
a
it.
republic. I don't think it was a
Um,
democracy.
yeah, I think it was about the republic.
Because we are a constitutional republic. We are a
Yes.
representational democracy because we have some places where they take away our ability to directly be democratic, like the Electoral College. And originally, the senators were actually appointed by our state legislatures and not directly elected. That was actually an amendment that changed that too. Or
Yep.
was it a court case? It was one of the two. But we
And
actually,
no, go ahead.
but we actually didn't originally directly elect our own senators.
No, yeah, we changed and actually up until recently, the parties chose the folks who would run for office directly.
Hmm.
And that has changed much more recently because we are trying to create a more true democracy, and that's what we
Right.
should be doing. And I want to read the quote if it's okay
Great.
from Thomas Jefferson. I pulled it
Okay.
up. It's not the full quote. There are some
Ellipses.
ellipses through, which is fine because it would be a long quote otherwise. But
Right.
it's actually about natural rights, is what
Okay.
Thomas Jefferson was writing about because the founding fathers were humanists. They were not Christians. They were not theists. They were humanists. They all
Some were
believed in the
theists.
human condition. Some were theists, some were deists, some were atheists,
Mhm.
but they were not Christian.
Correct.
So the quote, The question whether one generation of men has a right to bind another seems never to have been started either on this or our side of the water. But between society and society, or generation and generation, there is no municipal obligation, no umpire but the law of nature. We seem not to have perceived that by the law of nature, one generation is to another as one independent nation is to another. On similar ground, it may be proved that no society can make a perpetual constitution or even a perpetual law. The earth belongs always to the living generation. Every constitution, then, and every law naturally expires at the end of 19 years.
Oh,
If
wow.
it be enforced longer, it is an act of force and not of right. Thomas Jefferson.
Great.
So,
That's a good
take that
quote.
with a grain of what you should out of that
Mhm.
is, at least in my opinion, is the earth belongs always to the living generation.
Right.
That means we are the ones who should be writing the laws. The laws
Right.
belong and the earth belongs to us now.
Yeah.
The laws of old should expire. There are some that must expire.
Right.
And we must better the Constitution, and we
Hmm.
can better the Constitution.
We can. There are things I think worth protecting in it. I know that the Heritage Foundation has been lobbying for a constitutional convention. They actually want, and the last constitutional convention was the one that threw out the Articles of Confederation. So we really don't want a constitutional convention, especially in the current situation, because the tech bros would pretty much write it for us.
And the thing with the Constitutional Convention that we have to also put out there is if a Constitutional Convention is called, they can change anything at that
Hmm.
point. Once it is
Start it
called,
over.
it is all on the table.
Right.
Everything can be modified. They have the choice to change things because
Yep.
they have the convention to do it. They have the
Right.
convention to change the Constitution. That's why it's so hard to do. That's why it
Right.
takes such a plurality and not a simple
75%.
majority.
Right.
Yeah, it is a super majority have to agree. We can do it too. The
Right.
thing is, we have that power. It
Right.
could be our power and not theirs.
Right.
So that type of power is gainable. We need to win local houses and races. I said it this morning, and this is how we break the Seven Mountain Mandate is
Right.
run for everything.
Right.
Everybody needs to be running for something.
Right.
There need to be 10 million Americans running this year, right now. Go
Right.
to I forget the site. Let me pull it up.
Oh, yeah, I actually listed it too. Isn't it Run
It's
for Anything?
runforsomething.net.
.com. Oh, .net?
Runforsomething.net. I'll drop
Right.
it in the chat for anybody. Sign
Right.
up. Even if you're not going to run right now, you're thinking about it, just sign up.
Right.
Get the information, get the training, because that helps build a secondary sub network of people who are trained to run for offices,
Do you
but
know what's
also
needed to
who
run
know
for
what's
office?
needed, but also gain momentum and energy for those who are running.
Mhm.
So let's say Lisa and I, let's say we'll take the two of us. Let's say we were to run for something. This is just a
Right.
hypothetical at the moment. Let's say we were to run for something. Both of us are in very red districts. We would
Very red.
not really have a chance of winning. And that's not the expectation. The expectation isn't to win, not the first time,
Mm-mm.
not for every seat,
Nope,
but you'll
it's just
gain some. You'll
it's gaining some, and
gain.
it's gaining network availability, getting people to know us,
And if
building our network.
somebody's really excited about voting for you, they're
Mhm.
sure as hell going to vote for everybody else who's on that ticket that's the same party. And they
Right.
need somebody to vote for. Superintendent, school board, dog catcher. It's the Jess Piper model. Run for everything.
Right.
Run for something. So run, do it.
Run.
Why not? Sign up, just sign up, flood that website with new signups of people who are interested to learn about running. because that's how we win the democracy back, because we get the democracy we work for and we deserve the democracy that we get.
Right.
So
And
let's work for it.
we need to start working for it. We've gotten to a point where we've been so taught that we can't compete against money that we forgot there's more of us than there are of them.
Yeah.
And what we need to do is energize everybody to realize, look, there's only a few hundred rich people. And there's
There's a
thousands
few
of us.
million of
Yeah.
us.
There's
And
thousands of us in each district, in each little town. And yeah, there's no way they can run all of it.
just
Not if we
remember,
don't let them.
the highest rank of office in this country is voter and citizen. They go hand in hand.
Mhm.
You are the highest ranking person in this country. Our elected officials are public servants. They serve
Mhm.
us. They
They
serve
are
at
our employees.
our will.
Right.
That is the key. They serve at our will.
Right.
If enough people call in and enough people force the change, you know what's also possible? Recall elections.
Yes.
That's something people haven't talked enough about either, and I think we should start talking about, is forcing the parties to do recall elections
We're going to
for
have to
people
set up
who
a
aren't
weekly
doing
thing.
their job. Oh, absolutely. I love this.
Obviously. But we should go because we've run like almost 20 minutes into Wendy's.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, let
so
everybody get over to Wendy too.
yeah,
Um,
don't
Lisa,
want to
this
take
was
away.
so much fun.
It
Let's do
was.
this again.
Okay. Well, we'll have to set up a regular schedule. Just you look at your stuff and tell me because I don't do much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm saving what I have of the chat. I don't have
Okay.
everything. But everyone, thank you all for
Thank you for
coming.
coming.
We're gonna definitely do this again. I want to go more into the Seven Mountain mandates and things
Yeah.
that are and some of these undercurrents.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to just talk about your experience in
Yeah.
some of these groups,
There's
or
still a
this
lot
type
to
of group.
discuss. I figured there
Yeah.
would be once we started. So,
Oh, yeah. And we're just scratching the surface
oh, I
now.
know there's so much more. Great. Okay. Well, everybody, thank you. We'll
Thanks,
see you all
y'all.
soon. Bye bye.
Bye, all.